Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to. I hope you enjoyed that new intro. I've done a few intros of late, and there is such a huge mixed reaction across the board. I want the old intro back. The new intro's sick. Where'd you find that song? The music sucks. It's like I don't know what to go for. I may actually do a poll on the channel, and we can talk through the intros and all our personal problems. Geez, it'll be a big bloody poll if you've got to go through my personal problems. I hope you've enjoyed all the content that's been dropping of late. It's been a great fun time. There's some big news coming down the pipe in the next few weeks, so stick around with the channel and hang out. We're going to be doing a podcast as well, Snake Eyes and I. We might throw some of the average humans in there like Chapo, or the Corn Cartel as he calls himself now. And as always, if you'd like to sponsor the channel, click on the Patreon link there. We have a whole hell of a lot of fun. Now today I've got 3 games for you. One of them is the LTTB. We're going to finish with a Type 54 lightweight video, which is actually just a bit of a hat tip to how you can play that as a very, very, very aggressive human. And I've also got a T54 video on Middleburg. Now, I shot that one in particular because there was a couple of people over the past wee while who've asked me how you can deal with the lack of gun depression on Middleberg if you're a medium and you go top. And I've put that in there to highlight the best way I've found of playing that map as a T54, which only has 5 degrees of gun depression, and how you can be successful with it. Now, you see on this map, I've actually pushed up there on the stubborn Emil, as the Germans called it. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Stura Emil, so we won't worry too much about the pronunciations. And we're really in a bit of a crap spot because we've pushed up quite hard. There's an SP1C over here. We're lucky that we're in a tank that's quite small. And what that means is that the Emil wants to get a shot on me. He's going to have to put his money where his mouth is and get on down over that hump, which is a bit disconcerting because that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. So the joy of light tanks, as you know, and as I've talked about ad nauseum, is the ability to be super quick while also maintaining incredible amounts of camouflage. And you can see just how quick the LTTB is there. It is, without doubt, overpowered. Make no mistakes about it. This is exactly like the VK2801 before it, an incredibly efficient killing machine at tier 7. One of the things that keeps the 7 and 8 variants of the Russian lights in check is actually the other tanks at their tiers. There are a lot of very good tanks at tier 7, and even more so at 8. And the fact of the matter is that during certain time periods, namely school holidays, when there's an awful lot of kids out there running premium tanks at tier 8, you tend to get sucked into more tier 8 games in the LTTB than you do tier 7 ones. And it's just as well that it's a very strong contender, because if it wasn't, it would get squashed. And I know that's one of the reasons why a lot of the tanks at tier 7 do struggle, particularly heavy tanks at tier 7. There's some heavies that really, really suffer when they go up a tier and fight against tanks like the IS-3 Defender and the IS-6 and the Luva and all those kind of things. Big hit point pools and either big guns or very, very strong guns and trollish armor profiles. But the LTTB is an absolute monster in its own right. And you can see here how we're constantly resetting the camo, moving around, looking for shots. Now, if you watch the LTTB review, you would have known that I run the second gun on the tank so that I can get 8 degrees of gun depression, which makes it very, very easy to get good quality looks in when you're trying to find shots in the map. And you can see there that poor old bugger in the IS got absolutely wrecked. Now, the KV-1S is down there, and yeah, we're a lot more mobile than the KV-1S, which is a good thing for all concerned, because we stuffed the first shot completely, and we're going to eat one from the second shot. But we've got enough hit points to seal the deal, and we get it done. Now, I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk about the Middleberg area and the hill up the top, particularly how you can take a gun that's got 5 degrees of gun depression, and you can see there plenty of spotting damage, good solid damage numbers, and that's one of the best things about the LTTB and the 54 lightweight is they're strong enough to spot and get involved in the brawls and a bit of fighting. But the lightweight needs the armor because it doesn't have the gun depression, and the LTTB, if you run the second gun, has 8 degrees of gun depression. The 54 T54 at tier 9, the medium, the very, very strong Russian medium, however, has bugger all gun depression, and that makes it very tough. People struggle on this map because they get to the top and you're going to see straight away that Leopard PTA over there. If I want to get a shot on the Leopard PTA, I've got to go all the way up there, and there's a tank on my left, and if he had been paying attention, I could have been hit. Likewise, if you're shooting over the left, you've got to be careful of these guys in front of you, because much like that, they'll take shots at you. So what you need to do is be very, very map aware. You need to not look down here to see so much when shots are available as make sure that there's no one on your right who is actually able to shoot you, and then you shoot across and down. The only tanks that are going to be able to give you any trouble here are tanks at the rear on the right hand side who are in a sniper position over the cliff. You don't have to worry about that from the other side. There is no great sniper position from the other side, or from rather behind us on this map. There is only a very, very high sniper position from the far side on this map. And as long as no one can see down here and you're in a tank that you can get shots across with, that is grand. Now the 54 can do that by moving backwards and forwards here and showing the actual the upper glacis at an extreme angle. Now you can do this in the 54 lightweight too. That's the beauty of that tank. It's got the same kind of armor profile relative to its tier that the T54 has at tier 9. And you can see just how dastardly it is. Now no one has moved up on the right enough to make me pay, and I'm looking across, and their 54 is trying to do the same thing. I'm looking across there every once in a while just to make sure that I'm not under threat of being hit. If you had a bigger tank like a Sense 701, you could do this, but you wouldn't need to have to extend yourself out as far, and you could also quite easily get shots across. Now you can see there when I'm trying to put a shot in straight ahead down that gully, I will go further on my left into the hill so that no one over there can get easy shots at me. I'm still turning side on. Now the reason for that is quite simple. When you turn side on, it is easier to get the gun down. Much easier. Now we've lost a lot of tanks on the left, or a lot of tanks have stopped and don't have as much interest, but there is a 54 over there who's looking at me, and I tempt fate once too often and pay the ultimate price as he pens me, which isn't that big a deal. But it is getting quite tight. We're down a couple of tanks here, and despite the fact that we've been firing an awful lot of ammo out and taking a lot of damage to the red team, we are now down 3 tanks. I'm not that fussed though, because you can see they have 3 tanks with next to no hit points, and we get 1 away, then 2 away, and suddenly it's just a 1 tank differential. And we're also in a really, really strong position. Anyone that wants to get involved up here has to watch out. Now if you were on the lower side here where that other 54 is, you'd be waiting for someone up here to make an error in judgment, and I'm just not going to give him the satisfaction. I've let him have a shot in, just the 1. I'm going to wait until he's looking away, and then I am going to hit him in the back of the turret. Now, why have I waited? Well, because basically I don't want to get hit. You've got 7 minutes in a game, guys. Remember that. The biggest mistake I see from players in situations like this where they can't get shots easily is they expose themselves to put out damage, and it's just counterintuitive. If you want to put damage out, you want to take no damage back, and that's how you win games, when your team does more damage than the other team and takes less damage in. If you expose yourself, you're just going to get hammered. So you've got to take time. Now, I took the shots that were on the table from red, right? I didn't really put too much into it one way or another. And this Louver's got stuck at the back as well. We're going to tidy him up. And because of that, we got lots of damage out. But there's still 2 minutes 40 left in the game. There was no need to rush. There's no need to rush 90% of the time. You just got to take your time. And on Middleburg, if you've got no gun depression, go the high road and shoot down. Likewise, if you go the low road and you've got a strong enough turret, you can shoot back up. But don't try and get the shot straight across in front of you. They're not your targets. Your targets are the guys which you can get flanking shots into. Now this is the 54 lightweight. And this is a very different kettle of fish. Those of you who play with me would know that this is called the Bushka suicide spotting run, which I do on a hell of a lot of maps. And I don't always go this way. I go left, I go right. But basically what you're looking at is to leverage the enormous speed and camouflage of a tank like the lightweight into spots right at the start of the game, which will then bring the majority of your team into the field. And you can see that we spot up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks very, very smartly, and then do something which might be found a little more interesting. We go straight into the cap circle. This isn't doing damage, but this speaks very much to the point I was making before about you don't always have to race. We've been in for a minute. We've got 20 on the cap, and we've spotted 6 tanks. We've told all the guys on our team exactly where they are, and if they want to get shots, where they're going to have to face and fight. That's 2 big positives for our team. Straight away, the cap is going to move the map. Now, if you've ever watched basketball games and such, and you like Stephen Curry, you'd know that he's one of the best shooters the game has ever seen, and he moves defenses. People start accounting for him when he comes over half court. The cap works like that. A team has its defense set. Everyone wants to then snipe it out and duke it out. You get in the cap and you force the defense to move. They don't have any other way around it, and they don't, in this case, have the ability to put shots on me because I am very, very low to the ground and I have an extraordinary amount of camouflage potential in this tank. Now, we're going to get hit eventually, but what we've done is we've moved the map. The guys on my team don't take full advantage of it, but they do take advantage of it. And this poor T-44 gets screwed. Broken back dude was the guy trying to reset it. This T-28 is going to reset it, but we're going to kill him for the privilege. So we've taken out 2 very, very strong tanks. Really taken them out, tore them apart because we moved the map and we jumped in the cap. It's not a regular thing. You won't always see it on this map. But if you spot a whole heap of tanks and you see them moving away from the cap area into a strength position, a position of strength, not a strength position, then you can jump in the cap quite comfortably and know that they're not going to be able to reach you without moving. And for a lot of teams out there who may not be great players or maybe new players, and that is often the case at Tier 8, that's an excellent thing to be doing because it allows your team, even if they're bad players, everyone can point and shoot. That's all you need to be able to do. If you're giving them targets and they're not spotted themselves and you're moving them out into open areas, then you're doing the right thing. And we've gone over here. We've got on the other side of this T-29, and we're going to move very shortly because we have enough hit points. We're just assessing the situation, waiting. Again, you've got time, plenty of time to do the business. And then we're going to go out and get it on. Now, the final score looks a little less convincing than it should be, but at the end of it, we've got lots and lots of hit points left, and we've got 2 Tier 8 tanks left. And although it wasn't as big a victory as I thought it might turn out to be, it was certainly one where you could see the value of a light tank and how influential a light tank can be. And I know I've been harping on about this a bit of late, but there's a reason for that. We've had a whole new light line introduced, and people who are just new to the game and don't really understand how to play lights tend to treat them like mediums or like just very fast heavies, and they're not. They're nuanced machines of death and justice, and the sooner you realize that and the sooner you fully exploit all the wonderful things they can do, then the better off you will be. So I hope that was a good video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's content coming every day of the week, humans. I really love the community we got here. We've got, for the most part, everyone is absolutely fantastic. It's been an incredible journey for me thus far. Really phenomenal to have such a change of pace in my life at the age I'm at, and end up where I am. And there's, as I said, there's some big news coming, so stick around. You're wonderful. I think I just said that before, and you really are. Thanks so much for having me in your human lives, and look after your families. Stay safe on the battlefield. Bye for now.